From the Broadcast Center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Good afternoon. I'm Grace McLeod with your 1 p.m. news update. Starting our news for today, here is a few local stories. The BC Teachers Federation is calling to an end to a standardized test. Our reporter Brooke Jensen gives us the details.
The Foundation Skills Assessment, or FSA, is an annual provincial-wide assessment exam to test students in grade 4 and 7 on their academic skills. While some say it gives their teachers and schools an idea on how students are advancing in their literary and math lessons, the Teacher Federation says it is not in the official BC curriculum and does not encourage or support children in their schoolwork. Despite the outcry, there has been little action taken by the government, but teachers say they will not back down as the test is harmful to students and school communities. Brooke Jensen, 1680 The Crow.
And we are here live now with our reporter, Brooke. Hi, Brooke. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Hi.
Hi. All right. So my first question for you is, how long have teachers been fighting for this?
Well, it's been a couple of years. The first official time you can see it being brought up, at least the world's knowledge, is around 2021. But that's just recently, so there's an idea that it's been going on behind this for even longer.
Okay. And my second question is this just going on in BC?
It is with in particular places around America where they're getting similar. Right now in New York, they're getting rid of a similar idea with a test for similar children, but exactly the FS or the skills assessment.
Okay, thank you so much, Brooke.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Affordability continues to be a concern. For many across Metro Vancouver. The Crow's Ben Bagara explains why the growing numbers of vintage clothing stores may not be just a style trend.
The growing number of thrift and vintage clothing stores around Vancouver are raising questions as to whether their success is not just because of today's fashion trends. With growing concerns for affordability, as well as the ongoing call to promote sustainability, thrifting has become a way for individuals to not only save, but to reuse and give items a second life. Along with the new Value Village location set to open up on the Granville Strip, several smaller independent vintage stores have opened on Vancouver's west side in the past year. Ben Bugera, 1680 The Crow.
An update on our local Halloween costume story. The Mamas for Mamas nonprofit group is organizing an event that looks to support children and families this Halloween. Our reporter Anthony Atanasov has more on how the Costumes for Kids event is making Halloween more affordable.
The second annual Costumes for Kids event is happening on October 14th at the Vancouver Island Regional Nanaimo Harbourfront branch. Amy Armit, who volunteers with Mamas for Mamas in Nanaimo, hopes to replicate last year's success, which saw an influx of costume donations. The purpose is to create a sort of costume library where people can donate their old costumes, which can then be used for future Halloweens in order to help families that might be struggling financially. Amy hopes this will alleviate some of the financial pressure on parents when it comes to Halloween, while also giving kids more autonomy when choosing their costumes.
Mamas in the community that were looking for costumes, and specifically noting that, they can barely afford and rent, let alone a costume for their kid, and knowing how important it is as a kid to have some say over what you want as a costume.
Last-minute costumes can be donated on October 13th at the Nanaimo Harbourfront Library. This is Anthony Atanasov with 1680 The Crow.
Onto a national story. Canadian researchers have published a large study that finds intensive care units can use smaller tubes to collect much less blood for lab tests and thereby reduce transplants for critically ill patients. Ashley Ruland has countless blood tests and more than 100 blood transfusions after a head-on crash that left her with multiple injuries. And she says learning about the study was encouraging.
I thought how much less stress it would have been on my body to have had less blood taken. And although in the grand scheme of things, because I had so many injuries, this would be a small thing, but I think all these little small things can make a big difference for people. And when I was not sedated and I was having blood taken, like seeing the amount of blood leaving my body was also traumatic after having what happened to me happen.
The study published today in the Journal of the American Medical Association involved 27,000 patients in 4 provinces between 2019 and 2021. Also nationally, the Saskatchewan government has introduced a bill, and it is invoking the notwithstanding clause. This is to prevent children under 16 from changing their names or pronouns at school without parental consent. Reporter Steve Lambert with the Canadian Press has more.
The government says the bill has public support and will ensure parents are involved in decisions about their children. The opposition New Democrats, however, say the bill tramples the rights of children. Last month, a judge granted an injunction against the government's plan, but Premier Scott Moe is invoking the notwithstanding clause, which can override sections of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Steve Lambert, the Canadian Press.
For international news, the European Commission has made a formal, legally binding request for information from Elon Musk's social media platform X over its handling of hate speech, misinformation, and violent terrorist contents related to the Israel-Hamas war. It is in the first steps in what could become the EU's inaugural investigation under the Digital Service Act. The aim would be to determine if the site, formerly known as Twitter, is in compliance with the tough new rules meant to keep users safe online and stop the spread of harmful content. Based on its assessment of X replies, the Commission says it will assess its next steps, which could include the opening of formal proceedings and penalties. In the U.S., TikTok and Montana faced off in federal court in a case filed by a video sharing app and 5 content creators who want the court to temporarily block the state's ban on the platform before it takes effect on January 1st. Attorneys for the plaintiffs argue that the state has gone too far in trying to regulate TikTok and essentially trying to implement foreign policies over unsustainably allegations that TikTok might use user data with the Chinese government. The state argued the law not about foreign policy, but to address serious concerns about data privacy. U.S. District Court Judge Donald Malloy said he would rule on the motion for the permanent military injunction as quickly as possible. A new study finds that change in the climate and land use are combining to dramatically shrink the numbers of insects pollinating key tropical crops. Today's study says as though problems intertwine and intensify, it's likely will hit coffee lovers right where it hurts. That 1-2 punch will also melt some chocolate fans' dreams too. Scientists looked at thousands of species and sites and found when temperatures warmed up beyond the normal range, and that interacted with shrinking habitats of flower plants. The number of insects that pollinate those plants plummeted by 61%. Bees, flies, and other critters that pollinate plants are crucial to the world's food supply. Now in sports, congratulations are in order for the Vancouver Canucks. Brock Besser scored a career-high 4 goals as the Vancouver Canucks routed the Edmonton Oilers 8-1 last night to start a home-and-home opening set. Here's the call on Sportsnet 650 as Bozer scores a goal assisted by Elias Peterson and Andrei Kuzmenko the second period.
Behind the goal to Kuzmenko. Back to Pedersen. Right corner. Takes the pass in his skates. Try to saucer pass. Bounce off Besser. He scores! The hat-trick goal for Brock Besser. As the pass from Pedersen deflects off him and between Jack Campbell's legs. His 4th career hat-trick gives the Canucks a 4-0 lead.
Another local shout-out goes to North Vancouver's Connor Bedard, the Chicago Blackhawks rookie. He scored his first NHL goal in the first period against the Boston Bruins. The 18-year-old Bedard is the most anticipated NHL rookie in at least a decade. His arrival in Chicago is expected to elevate the original 6 team from the Central Division basement. He is the favorite to win the Calder Trophy for NHL Rookie of the Year. Also in hockey news, after a 5-year run, the Toronto Maple Leafs and Hall & Oates are out of touch. The pop duos You Make My Dreams had been the Maple Leafs goal celebration song for the past 5 NHL seasons, but that has come to an end. When forward Noah Gregor scored the Leafs' first goal of the 2023-2024 season campaign is last night's 6-5 shootout win over visiting Montreal. The ensuing jubilation was scored to a version of Kid Cudi's rap hit Pursuit of Happiness, remixed by DJ Steve Aoki's Pursuit of Happiness, will be the Leafs' main goal celebration song this season. But the team says it plans to use other tracks for the original 6 matchups and team nights. In soccer news, Canada will be without influential midfielder Steven Eustachio when it takes on Japan tomorrow in an international men's soccer friendly. Interim Canada coach Muro Biello explained what happened.
So Stefan had played Sunday night and picked up a knock, came in, and when we assessed him, we found that he wasn't fit to play. So for us, it was a risk based on the assessment, and for him it was important that he would get back to his club.
Eustachio has returned to FC Porto, his club side in Portugal. In weather news for today, is it currently 16 degrees and very sunny outside. We are, however, expected to hit a high of 19 a bit later today. Tomorrow we will be receiving even higher temperatures with a max of 21 degrees. Those were your 1 o'clock news updates. I'm Grace McLeod with 1680 The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Teresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.